Welcome to this brief introduction to OpenX publishing. In fact, a new innovative paradigm for academic publishing. Now, I know open access raises a lot of questions, and many of you might have this question, well, is this not all about money? Or another one, is this not fraud? Because in the end, you pay to get published, or in some cases, you pay to get published. Well, first of all, open access is related to a new international choice to opt for a new way of academic publishing. For instance, when you look at Horizon 2020, and since then, you will see that you will always be required to publish via an open access journal. And also at the national level, there is complete new legislation that defines and redefines the way we publish. And the key element in this legislation that it states that the moment the government, so the public, is financing research, it should be open access. So you have to be transparent about what you spend and how you spend it. And also publishing is a way of showing to people what you did with public money. But also at Ghent University, we stick to that choice. And when you look, for instance, at the Biblio webpage, you will clearly see that we always refer to open access. And there's a very clear policy, a policy that is translated into new tools, into new options you get, in fact, in the websites of, for instance, Biblio. Now, what does it stand for? Well, the definition is quite clear. It means that anyone, when you publish open access, that anyone can freely access, use, modify, and share, in fact, your publications. Of course, we have to respect the copyright, we have to reference, but it's this freedom to distribute that, in fact, opens up a better horizon for distributing the things you do. And many people say, okay, this sounds very nice, but, and this but is mainly related to, well, I thought when I publish and it's in a journal that I transferred some of my rights to the publisher. Well, we will look at this via two scenarios. The first scenario will look at the traditional subscription-based journals, and the second scenario will look at these new open access journals. Well, I say new, you will see some of them have already a long and established career. So what about these traditional subscription-based journals? Well, there is absolutely no problem. The Belgian legislation, changed in 2018, simply allows you to make available the final version of a peer-reviewed article. Of course, not with the makeup of the journal. Okay, and maybe you have to respect a kind of embargo, but that's not a problem. And you will see that you can cater for this. If you enter a publication, published in a subscription-based journal, you will be requested, and we will even insist that you publish the peer-reviewed final version, that you make it accessible, and then automatically Biblio will in fact even screen via a special tool whether it can be made available to everybody straight away or after a certain embargo period. So here you see, for instance, when you enter in current Biblio, then you will have to transfer, in fact, or indicate to what extent there is open access and whether there is an embargo. If not, then you can even check this, and automatically Biblio will also do that. But now these other journals, for some of you, they might be new, these open access journals. Well, here we see that people have some doubts because you provide unpaid open access to everybody to read this. That's of course fantastic because it immediately has an impact on the visibility of your research. It might boost your citations, but some open access journals really require you an article processing charge for this, and this can be a hefty charge. This could be 500, 800, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 euro. Depending on the status of the journal. And of course, here we get this question mark. Well, is this a money business? And especially we have this other question about predatory journals. And by the way, this is not fiction. or it's not a dinosaur story. Really look it up on the internet, and there are predatory journals, so be aware. So to help you, there is a website. There is an international website, also linked to the Web of Science, that helps you to screen the status of an open access journal. And this is in fact a directory of open access journals. And there you can enter whatever field, whatever name of a journal. For instance, here I entered education, and immediately you see 2,745 journals that in fact are open access. And you can check whether they have a DOAG seal, so they are recognized internationally, and you can even check whether they really charge you or not. But then you have another issue. Are these journals indexed in ISI? In other words, do you find A1 journals? Yes! Really, click the Clarified website that helps you browsing the Web of Science. And of course, here we recommend log in with your university credentials, and automatically you will be able to in fact check journals in the master journal list that are either open access and whether they have Web of Science coverage. So, for instance, if you click these options, automatically you will see all the journals that are available for you, and then you can screen whether there is an APC to be paid or not, article processing charge. So, to conclude, the policy of the UGent is open access. And then, who will pay? Well, first of all, the FWO agrees to include open access costs in the budgets. The BOF, so UGent, in fact, funding agency, agrees to the same. But still, well, there are some future developments. The future will be especially about open access agreements between universities or even countries and publishers. So for instance, here you see Springer. They really are open for institutional agreements. And here you see, for instance, the University of Cambridge, they really opted for this, and they make available on their website a whole list of journals with which they have, in fact, such an agreement. And Elsevier, they have these even at country level. Of course, the only country and region lacking is Belgium, Flanders. But it will come better late than never. And for now, let's publish open access.